bacteria, not viruses. So
fungus. Yes, that's the usual response. Fungi seem harmless enough. Many species know otherwise, because there are some fungi who seek not to kill, but to control. Let me ask you, where do we get LSD from?
Where do you get it from?
It comes from ergot, a fungus. Psilocybin, also a fungus. Viruses can make us ill, but fungi can alter our very minds.
This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm joined once again by the wonderful Jill Bucaro from Wellness Riot. Where are you joining us from today, Jill?
I am in the Lake of the Ozarks. Was
Oh,
I
right,
there last
okay.
time too?
Yep, that's where you were. Yes.
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah.
So this is one of your extended stops on your bus trip of the United States.
It's an extended stop indeed. Yeah, it's been nice. I'm in a house. It's like I've taken showers, long showers. It's
Okay.
been great.
Fantastic. Now, today we are going to be speaking about a topic that appears to be on many a person's lips right now. I'm actually amazed at how kind of mainstream fungi have become as of late. And whether this is in popular culture with terrifying science fiction like The Last of Us, Vespers, where mushrooms are kind of the enemy, or indeed with coffee substitutes like my wife is trying right now, Everyday Goals, which is mushroom coffee plus mushrooms, collagen, nootropics. We'll get to that in a moment. And mushroom beverages. I'm having this one right now. A local producer. This is Oralis Botanical. Not been drinking. This is their Chaga mushroom lively blend, blueberry and spruce. And I have to say that chaga is an acquired taste. Why are mushrooms so zeitgeisty right now?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. And I think, there's different kinds of mushrooms too. So I think we're probably going to focus like on the medicinal or functional, or sometimes they're called adaptogenic mushrooms. But I think there's probably a rise in all kinds of mushrooms. And I think, there's multiple health benefits that I think are coming to light with mushrooms is one benefit or one reason that they're popular. I also think too, COVID gave people the opportunity to grow and forage them. So like with the big sourdough bread, people are like, we can grow them, right? And then the plant-based movement is using them in a lot of different ways. And whether you're plant-based or not, they're being used in so many different forms that if you don't like mushrooms, but you want the benefits, there are a lot more options. People are like, I don't like the texture, more of like a culinary mushroom. Yeah. Now you could get the health benefits. And then they're also being used in a ton of non-food things like textiles and in place of leather, skincare, packaging materials. So I mean, it's just, they're kind of exploding just and maybe the different ways that they can be used. And then maybe the health benefits. I think it's a combination of things, why they're becoming so popular.
So if we start with edible mushrooms, what are the nutritional benefits that one gets from edible mushrooms? Standard mushrooms that one would find in a supermarket and the like.
Yeah, so they have tons of, health properties. They're good sources of protein, B vitamins, fiber, beta glucans, which is great for immune support. Some of them are high in vitamin D, and it just depends on if they've been exposed to sunlight. Yes. So a lot of the mushrooms that we find in the stores that are conventionally grown or grown on a big scale are grown in the dark. So we're going to have lower levels of vitamin D. But if you see mushrooms out and about or they're exposed to some light, they are able to absorb vitamin D, just like we are as humans. When we're outside and we're, in the sunlight, we get, can make and produce vitamin D. So you can look on the package actually and see what the vitamin D, if it's one of those that has a label, or is in like a pre-packed form, you can see what the vitamin D is. But you can also slice them and expose them to the sun, and they'll capture more vitamin D. That was news to me when I just found that out, and I thought that was so cool.
So when you see mushrooms, I have occasionally seen mushrooms that are labeled as enriched with vitamin D. Does that mean they're just exposing them to the sun for a little bit before they send them on their merry way?
That would be my understanding, as far as, just having them. I don't know how you would like, inject or enrich, and maybe that's something I just need to learn.
Yeah.
But I think if the exposure is there, and it could be ultraviolet light or sunshine, so it can be, not sunshine, but like, artificial light. But as long as they have that exposure, then the vitamin D levels will be higher.
It brings me to a story, something that I experienced just after university. I went to live in the south of France for about 18 months, and I was eventually ran out of money. I had a wealthy patron who was actually helping me down there, and then the money was suddenly fini, and I had to go and find a job. And someone said that there was a job picking mushrooms, and I imagined this romantic idea of going through the forest and finding, these beautiful Provençal hillsides, foraging for mushrooms. Wasn't that? It was an old railway tunnel that had been cemented in and turned into it was like the bowels of hell, and the smell from in there. And it was pitch black. And the people, when I saw that the shift coming out on my first day, they looked like zombies coming out because they'd been away from the sun all day. I lasted a day and a half, and I didn't get paid for that day and a half.
Oh my gosh. See, we just see them beautifully caramelized on a plate. We have no idea where
Exactly. So nutritionally, what is the kind of breakdown, apart from the vitamin D that we would get there? What else is in there, as in minerals and the like?
Well, the vitamins, there's, B vitamins, beta glucans are helpful for immune support. The vitamin D, like I said, fiber, minerals, I don't know.
Okay, that's all right.
Those are what the main factors that I know that are in mushrooms.
No problem. Okay, I'll cut that bit out, so that's no problem at all. So with you having a plant-based diet, do mushrooms are they something that you have once, twice, 3 times a week or more?
We do try to have them regularly. I just personally love mushrooms, so I am a fan of having them, and because of the health benefits, I like to include them. And we're turning them into tons of things. I mean, you can have mushroom jerky, mushroom steak, burgers, tacos, and then for me, like I like to make like a bolognese sauce, with them, stir fry dumplings. And then, just with garlic. And then also, we take them in the powder form, like you mentioned, with the coffee and cacao, and I pour like powder in my smoothies. So I kind of try to get them in like as much as I can.
So medicinal mushrooms have seem to be going through a kind of moment right now as well. We've been speaking about the edible mushrooms that one would find in the supermarket, at your farmers markets, or you could forage for them, but or you could grow them. I have something to show you. We're talking about growing mushrooms. Right? Do you see this? This has been this was a gift, a Christmas gift from a Canadian company called Happy Caps, and those are some lion's mane mushrooms, which have been growing since about just before New Year, and those will be served up with some garlic and butter this evening, and some chives and some organic beef liver. So this is my dinner.
They are gorgeous. Oh my gosh, they're awesome. I love lion's mane.
Have you ever grown mushrooms yourself?
We've grown shiitake mushrooms, oyster mushrooms on like one of the, the logs like from the companies that you can get. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, we have, and they were like, I love that idea. So great.
Speaking of shiitake mushrooms, I was once in a restaurant with my mother, my very Scottish mother, in London, and we'd gone to a kind of Japanese it was a ramen place, and she was looking at the menu, and I had gone to the washroom, and I came back, she was like, Jamie, I don't believe this. Oh, have you seen what they've got on the menu? I'm like, what? I don't want to say it. Like, what? Shit cake mushrooms. That's disgusting. Do you think that's some kind of joke? That's my mom. I had to explain it was shiitake. Anyway.
I love that story. I love that story.
You may have seen, I've been reading this. It was gifted to me a year or so ago, and I've just been dipping in and out of it. Are you familiar with this book? Oh, there you go.
Entangled Life. Oh, I love it. I don't know if I don't have it, so I don't know if I know it
It's
or
an
not.
excellent read. I was wanting to read you just the opening sentence from the prologue. Actually, it's from the intro. Fungi are everywhere, but they are easy to miss. They are inside you and around you. They sustain you and all that you depend upon. As you read these words, fungi are changing the way that life happens, as they have done for more than 1 billion years. They are eating rock, making soil, digesting pollutants, nourishing and killing plants, surviving in space, inducing visions, producing food, making medicines, manipulating animal behavior, and influencing the composition of the Earth's atmosphere. It's quite an opening paragraph.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. But I find that fascinating, and you know, his book is an incredibly complex. I'll say that again. His book is it's incredibly complex in the way that it weaves together like this entangled life, all of the different ways that mushrooms impact our lives as humans, and indeed the rest of the planet. One of the things I found quite interesting is he because of the discovery of penicillin, he believes that the discovery of penicillin was actually incremental in the turning of the war, the side that had the penicillin. So that's it shaping human history, and that's the way that in many ways fungi can impact human evolution, I guess. But absolutely fascinating stuff. Sorry, getting back to we were talking about medical mushrooms. Why do you think we've seen this increase in mushrooms as medicine? I mean, mushrooms as medicine goes back to about the beginning of time, I would imagine. I mean, Chinese medicine uses mushrooms throughout many of its. Geez, I keep on losing my train of thought. I'm getting excited. I think it's this. It's this stuff. Anyway, anyway, let me go back to that. Right. So okay. Mushrooms as medicine are hardly a new thing. We seem to be going through this revolution right now, but mushrooms as medicine have been around since time immemorial, and man has been known, even Neanderthals were known to use, have some sort of cognizance of the use of certain lichens, molds, fungi as medicine. And of course, Chinese medicine utilizes mushrooms quite a great deal, actually. Why do you think we're seeing this resurgence, or at least growth, in mushrooms as medicine?
That's a great question as to like why the resurgence, but I know one of the great things about mushrooms is that they have these adaptogenic properties. So adaptogenic meaning they want to bring the body into balance. And the immune system is like a great example. So if you take, cordyceps are great, chaga's great for immune support. Lots of mushrooms have like an immune supporting factor, but they're not going to boost exactly. They're not going to boost or push or force your immune system to work or to not work. They're going to provide what the immune system needs to work in a balanced way. And that happens with, the liver, with the gut, with, brain clarity. It's not going to force or push or pull. It's really just supporting. So I think what makes them so great is that almost like wherever you are in the health spectrum, those mushrooms can help you bring yourself back to balance. So I think it's one of the things that's different about them or separates them from, maybe just other vitamins or supplements or minerals or things like that. They have these properties that are really wonderfully balancing.
In doing some research for this, I was looking at some of the products available, and I was laughing quite a great deal looking at some of the marketing materials. Gwyneth Paltrow's website, Goop, features a product called Brain Dust, and it speaks about it as being edible intelligence that will help combat the effects of stress to align you with the cosmic flow for great achievement. And even that completely nuts guy, Alex Jones, from that website I'm not going to mention, the conspiracy theory guy, he's pushing his snake oil mushroom remedies all the time. I went to his website just to see, and oh my goodness, it's all to do with mushrooms.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, that happens with a lot of things. It's like, oh, this is good, then, it just goes off the rails, or like
Yeah.
everybody wants to make a product, with like CBD, coconut, like, I mean, you name it, right? But actually, on the National Institutes of Health website, there's over 6,000 studies, including medicinal mushrooms. And to
Okay.
give you some comparison, there's about 3,000 for the newest diabetic drug.
Oh, wow.
So there's definitely evidence that they provide benefits, but and keep in mind too, like the mushroom industry has nowhere near the financial resources that the pharmaceutical companies
Of
have. So
course.
you
Yeah.
would expect the number of studies on them to be less, because studies cost money. So there is there's definitely benefit there. There's studies to prove it. But with that said, again, you can look at the quality of the product. So there's a few things that you can look for that will help you make a decision as to, like, the quality, and if it's going to do what, they say it's going to do. But so one is the part of the mushroom. So there's the fruiting body, which is what we kind of see, the cap, the
Yeah.
stem. That's one part of the mushroom. And then there's the mycelium, which is kind of the root system. More benefit tends to come from the fruiting body. So if you're looking at ingredients, or they're doing a promo or something like that, and you understand that they're using the fruiting body, that can be beneficial. Also where it was grown. So like your log, right? Like that lion's mane mushroom, like in nature, these functional mushrooms are grown on trees or on logs. And just like a lot of other plants, they're getting their nutrients and, strength from the, what they're grown on. So you can look for wild harvested or log grown mushrooms, as opposed to being grown on like a grain or some other substrate.
Right.
And then finally, look to see how it's been extracted, or if it's been extracted. So it can be extracted usually with alcohol or water. There's benefits to both, but you want to make sure that it was extracted in some way, because that's where you're going to get most of the benefits. And you can actually contact the company. If a company has a product, you should be able to contact them to ask them questions about their product. Do they have any data showing improvements or backing their claims? Like, how do you know it does what it says it does? I worked with a supplement company for years, and we had intervention studies, case studies, clinical publications. So we could say we knew that's, what it did. So those are some things that I think to, just keep an eye out for. And then, as far as like reading labels, so mushrooms are a dietary supplement, or considered a dietary supplement. So unlike pharmaceuticals, they're not meant to treat or cure. So if you see those words on a website, on a package, be wary of that. You should see words like support or improve. That would be more in line with what a dietary supplement can say and should say.
Right. And nothing about, so you should just ignore things that say align you with the cosmic flow for great achievement. That's marketing gobbledygook.
Ask for that study. How can you prove that? I don't know.
Anyway, speaking of cosmic flow, you are down in, you were in California, and you're now traveling around the States. Where do the state's laws lie right now with regards to psychedelic mushrooms, psychoactive mushrooms? Because in Canada, it's like the Wild West. It's like a legal gray area right now.
I believe it's the same in if not all the US, at least a lot of it. But I do feel like it's gaining popularity, or maybe coming to the surface a little bit more, because there's more options to do it in a controlled environment. Still, whether it's regulated, I don't know. But I feel like before, it really was kind of like genuinely the Wild West, like you were out in the woods, or maybe it was with a friend. And now there's more, organizations or, companies that will do it in a controlled way. So I feel like people would feel more comfortable, like, oh, this is a master herbalist, or this is somebody that, somehow, can oversee the environment of being able to do that. So people, I think I've heard more of those kinds of situations. You can go to a retreat, or you can go to, like some location where you can do it in a more controlled environment. And I also think too, just with this day and age, I think there's more transparency in the sourcing of, the product. So there might be a level of comfort there, knowing that it's not, back alley,
Right.
product
Right.
where you're not really sure what you're getting.
Well, I have a number of my peers who are, very successful professionals, and they microdose with mushrooms every single day. And I did send you a link to one Canadian site, and it's very, it's very slick. They seem to have a very slick operation, and one can purchase mushrooms or edibles or infusions, all sorts of chocolate, for example, with these mushrooms in it. So it seems to becoming almost mainstream.
Yeah. I think it is for the health and wellness field, or has been growing there
Right.
for a while, but I totally see people in an office or, just at the store, like drinking a mushroom coffee, buying a mushroom coffee or a supplement to add to their smoothies. And I do feel like it's catching on, like what the benefits are. And that'll be proven too, and it'll either take off or not if people are feeling the benefits, which I feel like the growth has something to do with people are like, yeah, I started taking this and I feel so much better, or
Right.
it really helped me with X, or, so the more people are having those experiences, it's going to grow. If nothing ever, nobody had any benefits, it would be quick to die.
It's interesting, and so this is the chaga drink I was having, and I don't drink coffee because caffeine. I'm very, very sensitive to it. This had a very similar impact to caffeine for me. It's called a lively, so I'm guessing it's supposed to give you energy, but I do have that kind of nervous energy I get from caffeine, even though there's not a drop of caffeine in it. What are chaga's supposed health benefits usually?
Typically it's with kind of like overall like support of like health, like
Right.
cell growth, and like immune support, and things like that. So I'd have to look to see what some more specifics are, but I just know those are some of the benefits that I know of.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Jill, thank you very much for joining us once again at Good Food Revolution, and speaking to us about the fascinating topic of mushrooms. We will catch up with you again next month, and bye for now.